Positives. I mean, at least Duncan Keith's back.
Wow. You have to get up, do what they do. But that was insane. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Come on. I make go records, baby. I'm liking this.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Hawks Recap. My name is Clay. Thank you for tuning in. Blackhawks playing their 35th game of the season tonight at home, front end of back-to-back. Crawford in net against the Colorado Avalanche, and the Hawks once again, for the third time in 3 meetings, lose to the Colorado Avalanche, this time by a score of 4-1. Now, I'm going to do a one-take episode here, not because it's late and I need to get it done. That's why I usually do one-take episodes, but I'm going to do this one because I kind of feel like it, and because, well, if you're not aware or you're a new watcher, you may not realize that the reason I started doing these videos and started this channel, first and foremost, was to try and improve my communication and presentation skills. That's the reason I did it, or am doing this. That's the main reason. I'm not trying to be a YouTube star. I'm not trying to get 1 million views, although we just hit 700 subscribers, which is a pretty cool milestone. Pretty happy about that. But like, this channel will never not be just a hobby for me. Like, it's never going to be my lifeblood. It's never going to pay the bills. It just isn't. And I'm fine with that. I'm completely fine with that. The point of this channel was to help me develop a skill that I could use elsewhere in life, in my career, social life, wherever. So I combined the need to improve a skill with my love of hockey and the Hawks, and this is what we got. And to be able to improve a skill, whatever skill it is, you got to just do it. You got to practice it. So most of my videos here, I do jump cuts and everything where I can edit and take out mistakes and all that. But from time to time, just do a one take. Just do it all. It kind of requires a different kind of focus, a different type of mentality. And it's kind of a different little skill. So it's just something you got to do from time to time. If I want to improve this skill, I got to do it. So here we are, one take episode. I hope you understand. I hope you find some enjoyment out of it, because I will too. But I'll tell you what, there wasn't a whole lot of enjoyment out of this Hawks game. And quite frankly, there's not a whole lot to really say about this Hawks game, which is another reason I'm kind of doing a one take episode here, because quite frankly, this is kind of deja vu for the Hawks versus the Avs this year. Like, in my opinion, this Avalanche team is the best team in the Western Conference, and may just be one of, if not the best teams in the league. When this team is healthy, they are world beaters. If this team is healthy and on their game come spring, I would be very surprised if they're not in the Stanley Cup final. This team is absolutely unreal. Combine that with the Hawks, you're going to get games like this, and that's what we've seen through these, first 3 games against the Avalanche. And quite frankly, not only are the Avalanche a really, really good team, but they're also just a really terrible matchup against the Hawks. The Hawks are they're in a hole to begin a game against the Avalanche. So, like, these kind of games, it just suck. Like, you kind of just have to take your beating if you're the Hawks, at least this year. It is what it is. So, as I mentioned, this is kind of deja vu. Now, the Hawks, if they're going to try and find a way to get a point against the Avalanche, they got to play a perfect game, essentially. And they definitely did not do that in the first period. They got outshot 19-6. Crawford was absolutely fantastic. That's the reason the Avalanche didn't have more than 1 goal in that first period. Now, the goal the Avalanche did score was Ian Cole from the blue line, and really a shot that Crawford probably should have saved, but Crawford made a complete ridiculous number of high danger saves in that first period. So, like, I'm going to give him a break on that 1 goal. Hawks, although they passed up a lot of chances to shoot in that first period, like, they should have had probably 10 shots on goal. instead of just their 6. But they passed up a lot of shots and tried to make the perfect pass. I don't know if it was just like, this is the Avalanche, they're really good, we have to make the perfect play to beat them. But sometimes you just got to put the puck on net. The Hawks really didn't do that in the first period, and they kind of limited their chances because of it. But Carpenter would be one of the few times where Hawks decide to just put the puck on net. He shoots it. It was a great shot. Hawks tie the game up, and it's 1-1 going into the second period. The second period would be a much better period for the Hawks, 16 shots for them, but they wouldn't score a goal. And in fact, the Avalanche were the ones that could find the back of the net in that second period. Like, there was a shift where the Hawks had offensive zone time for like a minute. It was a great shift, absolute perfect shift. They had shots on goal. They were getting puck retrievals. It was fantastic. It was like what the Avalanche were doing to the Hawks like the rest of the game. But the Hawks were doing it. But couldn't get anything past the goalie. Puck finally got out of the zone and found its way to Nathan MacKinnon, who was just absolutely unfair. McKinnon's like at the end of a long shift here. He was defending that entire time. He picks up the puck and just strides in a little bit and just unleashes a snipe. Just unreal. And I don't know, there's not a whole lot Crawford could have done about that one. Avalanche go up 2-1 after just amazing shift by the Hawks. Sometimes hockey is unfair. But the Avalanche would score again shortly after that. Burakovsky with a snipe. Like, through these 3 games that we've played against the Avalanche, I'm trying to figure out if the Avalanche even have a player on their team that cannot snipe the puck. It's absolutely ridiculous. Every single goal, it seems, has just been an absolute, like, bar-down shot. Like, no goalie saving that. It's ridiculous. Maybe it's just the Avalanche against the Hawks. I don't know. But it seems unfair. Meanwhile, our guys are, like, missing the net or hitting the post or whatever. Then you got Avalanche, 4th-line guy just absolutely sniping it. It's dumb. It's dumb sometimes. Avalanche would have a 3-1 lead going into the third period. Third period would be kind of a shutdown period. Avalanche, I wouldn't say a shutdown for the Avalanche. They kind of coasted, but like they didn't really give anything up. Maybe that is shutdown. I don't know. But unfortunately, DeBrincat kind of got a bit of a nasty hit, and considering the history that Girard and DeBrincat have from their last meeting where DeBrincat kind of cleaned Girard's clock in a fight, Girard kind of wanted to get a piece of DeBrincat after DeBrincat took a shot. DeBrincat was vulnerable, and it was dangerous or near the boards. DeBrincat went in awkwardly to the boards, and it was a dirty hit. It was late. It was uncalled for, reckless. But good thing DeBrincat, which, by the way, it's his birthday, so it's even harder to watch for that reason. But thankfully, despite DeBrincat kind of laying on the ice for a little bit, got up. He would return to the game. He seems fine. So that's good. But that was kind of unfortunate to see. And then on top of all that, insult to injury, you have Gustafsson getting a penalty for sticking up for DeBrincat there, and no boarding call or a roughing call on Girard. Is what it is. It didn't alter the result of this game, but it's just kind of annoying, right? So Avalanche would add an empty netter later in, with about like 2.5 minutes left to go in the game from Rantanen. That would be the final score, 4-1. Now the Hawks, they kind of just have to put this by them. Like I said, Avalanche they're just a really good team, and I'd be surprised if we end up getting a point from them in the 4th game. Thankfully, Saturday is the last time we have to play the Avalanche this year, so we can look forward to that at least. But next, before we can look forward to that, we have to play back end of back-to-back here against the Winnipeg Jets in Winnipeg. Robin Leonard will be in net. Maybe the Hawks can get a bit of luck or turn it around a little bit against not as good of a team as the Avalanche. So that's kind of what I wanted to say about this game. Next, I want to talk about Marc Crawford and then also the Taylor Hall trade. So, Marc Crawford, Blackhawks and Marc Crawford kind of announced a couple days ago that Crawford would be suspended until January. He's been away from the Hawks since the beginning of December here, based on the whole coach abuse allegations and everything that came out a couple weeks ago. And from the report and everything that I saw, I cannot say the Hawks handled this or could have handled this any better. I thought they handled it very well. I thought Marc Crawford has handled this very well. I think one of the things that we saw here with Marc Crawford that we haven't seen a whole lot, and that really is kind of what we want to see with all these allegations that are coming out, is we just want to see some people taking responsibility. Like, that's the main goal. Like, no one can take away the abuse that happened. The damage is done in terms of that. But what we can do now, and what Marc Crawford has done with his release or his opportunity here, is accept, his wrongdoings and have remorse for doing it. He also mentioned that he's actually been in therapy for years to kind of help out a situation, and quite frankly, it has showed. We haven't seen any sort of claims or anything against Marc Crawford as of late. Like, everything that's happened was years ago. Marc Crawford of now is not the same Marc Crawford as yesteryear, and that's good. Like, to see someone take responsibility, understand that they've done something wrong, and try to improve themselves. Our society, we're going to give people like that second chances. Yes, we're suspending him, but you kind of have to suspend him in this situation. It was a month, so it's not like that big of a deal, and it's during the holiday kind of month and season. So, like, you kind of have to send a message. So that's where the suspension is. But you don't have to fire him, because there's not really reason to fire him since he hasn't really done anything wrong as coach with the Hawks. But what we want to see from others, whether it's coaches or anyone really in life, is when these allegations come up and stuff like that, or things come to light, so many people just try to sweep it under the rug and say it happened so long ago. So what if it happened so long ago? Let's try to learn from it. Let's show that it's not acceptable anymore. And if we do things like that, we can show coaches and people not only in the NHL, but juniors and youth, we can try and change the culture that we had, and we can try and learn from our history. And it's kind of interesting that I'm talking about this on the day where our president has just gotten impeached, and we're seeing a lot of similarities kind of in the political side of things that we're seeing here with the whole coaches, kind of the allegations and stuff. Like, so many people, especially in power, just will not admit fault. We need to be better as a whole. People in power, us, just as regular citizens, hockey players, hockey coaches, everyone, we can get better. And we should not just sweep under rug opportunities to be able to get better. So I'm happy with how the Hawks have handled this. I'm happy with how Marc Crawford has handled this. I mean, this kind of shows the Hawks being a world-class organization. This is what a leading organization does. So I'm happy about it. I'm not happy what Crawford has done in the past, but I'm happy with what he's doing now and how he's handled his life since then to get better and to be better. And that's really all you can ask. Because once again, you cannot take away the past. You cannot take away the damage that the past has done. You can only offer up yourself to apologize and to get better and to be a leader for everyone else to come in the future. It's a bit of a somber note. So let's move on from that. Let's talk about Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall trade. As you know, Taylor Hall got traded from the New Jersey Devils to the Arizona Coyotes. So Coyotes seemingly are all in this year, which is fun to see. But I don't know how much the Hawks really need to worry about it, considering Arizona's in the Pacific Division. And the Hawks, I mean, I don't think the Hawks are going to be battling the Coyotes for a wild card spot. It seems like the Coyotes are going to be battling for a Pacific Division title. So even if the Hawks were battling for a wild card spot, I don't think Arizona's trade here kind of affects the Hawks in that regard. But now, the Arizona Coyotes are going to be moving to the Central when the Seattle expansion team comes into the league. So that would be a little bit more of an effect on the Hawks. However, considering this is the last year of Taylor Hall's deal, and we're not going to see what Taylor Hall does in terms of re-signing or going to free agency. We're not going to see that until after the season. So that's still very much up in the air. In terms of the picks and everything that got sent back to New Jersey, I think New Jersey got a good deal from it, especially since they were going to probably lose Hall for nothing. They got a pretty good haul back for Hall. It's kind of weird. But, if Arizona goes on and makes a run, this is kind of worth it for them, right? And especially if he resigns. But if he doesn't resign, we'll see. We'll see how this affects the Coyotes' future at that point. So, right now, I don't really have an answer in terms of, how good or bad is this trade for the Coyotes. I think, it seems like they really want to win right now, and this I think this move helps them do that. How long term it is, who knows? We'll see in the offseason when Taylor Hall decides his future. But and at that time we'll also see how it affects the Hawks in terms of the future of the Central Division too, and having to possibly face Taylor Hall and an Arizona Coyotes team, as well as a bunch of the other really good Central Division teams. Central Division is just absolutely ridiculous. We've been at the top of the Central Division for a long, long time, and the Central Division was good during that time. So we saw it from the top, and we were like, everyone else was complaining about how bad or how good the Central was. But now we're kind of on the other side, and we're looking up and like, oh my God, this is what other teams are facing. So we're kind of figuring that out. Yeah, that's kind of what it is for the Hawks right now. It sucks, but honestly, with the cup run that we got, or the 3 cups run that we had, 10 years, the decade, I'll take this. I'll take this all the time. I'll take that trade. But we'll see. We'll see how the Hawks do against Winnipeg. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. I hope you enjoyed this one-take episode. Like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate that as always. But most importantly, stay safe, make good decisions, and I'll see you next time.